verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos, and disaffection between persons, groups, or countries. Fake news facilitates extremism. Fake news creates panic and distrust. Fake news breeds hatred. Fake news kills. Don't joke with it. Don't be in a rush. Verify your sources and facts. It is better late than fake. This message is brought to you by NTA News 24. With no verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos, and disaffection between persons, groups, or countries. Fake news facilitates Welcome to you anywhere around the world. This is Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayo DG Makinde, and we're live in Abuja. ECOWAS countries are engaging in a constructive dialogue on how to strategize on the region's concerns. Correspondent Garba Nata'ala reports that the meeting is at the ministerial level, particularly focusing on the political and security situation in some member countries, as well as humanitarian corridors. Ministers representing member countries are expected to submit their reports for ratification by the authority of heads of states and governments. This will form part of the resolutions at the end of ECOWAS regional meeting convened in Abuja.
And strategies to sensitize both the government officials and private sector groups on the economic potential of our region.
In the current efforts to have a better Nigeria, discussions have continued to trail critical issues surrounding tax policy that will lead to fair and equitable system. This was the thrust of a one-day round table on the tax reform bills organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
Diverse sets of experts, policy makers and legislators are here giving their insight and expertise on how to move towards a more just and balanced economic framework. It is the talk of the moment. Tax reform bills.
Let us use this moment to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to a National Assembly that is pro-people, pro-democracy, and pro-progress. My dear friends, together we can make this impossible possible with these tax reforms.
So the prospect that we have from this is to empower the Nigerian people, protect vulnerable and poor people, facilitate economic growth, and to ensure that we have the revenue to run government.
Other panelists call for consultations, amendments, and proper clarity on the legal provisions of the tax reform bills. They believe that strengthening tax administration through automation and use of technology to facilitate the tax return process, reducing paperwork and human intervention will go a long way in blocking leakages. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
INEC is proposing a special voting day for officials on election duty. The review of the mode of transmission of election results and the replacement of PVC with computer-generated slip for identification during voting. These are among the recommendations in the report on the 2023 general election and off-cycle polls unveiled by INEC. Mie Ogedi reports.
Ill and hearty, with bright mien, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu walked in, having pleasantries with his lieutenants. Though almost a week in Ghana, observing the just concluded presidential and parliamentary election, the exercise has taken a little out of him.
I hope I am audible enough, in spite of my hoarse voice, is because of the weather from the recent election in Ghana. Not London. Thank you.
A lot happened in the 2023 general election, and those that observed the process presented their findings. Diaspora voting, special court for electoral offences, cleaning up of the voters' register, top among the 142 recommendations from the two documents.
In the imperative of legal clarity in result management, with regard to manual transfer versus electronic transmission of results. The Commission also believes that the introduction of the BVAS, it is now, and the use of the permanent voters card are the sole means of identification of voters for accreditation on election day should be reviewed. Those who already have the PVCs can still use them to vote during elections. But going forward, computer-generated slips issued to the voter or even downloaded from the Commission's website will suffice for voter accreditation. The review report also contains recommendations on early or special voting for the millions of Nigerians who do not vote at the moment on account of the roles they play during elections.
First beneficiary of these recommendations will be Anambra State, as the governorship election is slated for November 2025. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
In another development, the Civil Society Coalition on Sustainable Development has convened an interactive conference on electoral reforms with a view to setting an agenda for stakeholders. Timothy Yusuf reports that the platform also x-rayed recent conduct of elections, adjudged to be progressively improving.
Nigeria's Fourth Republic has witnessed gradual improvement in election management. Stakeholders, however, believe that electoral reform is a process and not a project.
We have to be accountable, even ourselves as citizens. How can you have about 94 million Nigerians registered, and all you are having is a whoopee, 20-something million voting in the entirety of the election? So where are the almost 70 million Nigerians that have not voted?
As we grow, we want to be able to see that our laws, our policies, and our regulations help us to be able to have a free, a credible, a transparent election in Nigeria.
Participants submitted that the 2024 governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states, as well as conduct of recent local government elections, again spotlighted the lingering challenges within Nigeria's electoral system, particularly issues of result management, logistics, and the integrity of the electoral process.
The background, the fundamental for any democratic system of government anywhere in the world, or even society, groups, associations, is election.
It is key that election should be conducted in one day. And I also talked about Section 165 of the Electoral Act that gives the INEC chairman judicial quasi power to review our election. That is too much power in the hands of one man.
Meanwhile, in another development, Kimpact Development Initiative, an accredited election observer group, has described the November 16, 2024 governorship election in Ondo State as partially free and fair. The organization, in its final statement on the election, said it was conducted with notable efforts toward transparency and monitoring.
Independent election management, no interference from the states.
Kimpact Development Initiative deployed 3,362 trained observers across the 203 wards of Ondo State during the November 16 governorship election. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Now, following July's Supreme Court's pronouncements affirming the financial autonomy of local governments in the country, final touches to put a stamp on its commencement have been fine-tuned. This is the declaration of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi. Daily Atumbe reports that this was at the National Conference of the National Association of Judiciary Correspondents in Abuja.
In 2002, 5 journalists came together as judiciary reporters to form the National Association of Judiciary Correspondents, NAJUC, reporting court proceedings. During the end of the year, NAJUC invited the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice and Chief Judge, Federal High Court, to speak on the role of courts in enforcing judgments.
There should be accurate reporting of proceedings in the court without sensationalism.
The NTA will follow up the effort of the hearing through the NJP by enforcing internal mechanisms that will ensure that identified hearing data patterns are strengthened.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, speaks on the consequences of sabotaging the recent Apex Court judgment on local government's financial autonomy.
Section 1, subsection 2 of the Constitution further provides that the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall not be governed or any part thereof except in accordance with the provision of this Constitution.
As 2025 beckons, judiciary reporters say they remain yielded to the standard practices of fact-checking stories before publishing, balance, and objectivity in news reporting. In Abuja, Daily Atumbi, NTA News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum is strengthening leadership at the sub-national and enhancing collaborative efforts at the center to build a vibrant process that will guarantee a true reflection of democratic dividends. This came to the fore during a high-level session by governors of 36 states in Abuja Wednesday night, where decisions on many national issues were reached. Correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports that resolutions on some of the key issues were not made public by the forum, but some of the top items on the agenda indicates that the state of national economy is of top priority. We now go over to our Lagos Network Center, where there's a renewed call on the safety of dock workers, and Awal will be our guide.
Ayo, Dock workers in Nigeria are said to be unsung heroes who ensure hitch-free import and export of commodities at the nation's ports. As stakeholders in the industry celebrate Dock Workers' Day, National Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA and industry regulators have renewed commitment to strengthening policies that guarantees the safety and welfare of dock workers. Joel Pukwala has the report.
In the pyramid of the maritime sector, dock workers are the largest and perhaps the nucleus of the sector, making the ports and terminals operate seamlessly. It is therefore not out of place to set aside a day to celebrate this set of workers who are the economic lifeline of the nation's blue economy. This gesture, NIMASA says, should go beyond just a day. Director General of NIMASA, Dayo Moberola, represented says the theme of the Dock Workers' Day, which is safety first, efficiency always underscores the need to create a conducive environment for dock workers.
And we will continue to ensure that their wages is competitive and their safety, their health is being taken into consideration, whatever we are doing.
For the President General Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria and other allied unions, the day is worthy of the elaborate celebration in view of the mileage gained in terms of welfare and recognition of dock workers' critical role in the blue economy.
Good things are coming. There's continuity of service, they are pensionable, they are entitled to health facilities. What remains now is to improve upon what we have achieved. It's been a wonderful development over the years. But more can still be done. But thank God for Nigerian participation in ILO, Geneva Conventions and all that, which Nigeria has domesticated.
The reviewed minimum standard for dock labor industry booklet was formally unveiled to achieve uniformity within the industry. In Lagos, Joel Ukbola, NTA News.
The season of sharing and merriment always provides the best opportunity for many to bond, and the Nigerian Television Authority NTA2 Lagos Network Center is using its platform to reach out. One of such is the annual Children's Christmas Party. Lynn Leneke reports that the event is the station's way to usher in the Yuletide, a season of love and sharing.
It was a fun-filled day for children from public and private schools across Lagos State as they converged on the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority NTA2, your reach out station, in the spirit of Christmas. Aside unlimited fun, the event provided another opportunity for children to socialize.
Christmas brings a warmth of joy. NTA has done a wonderful job by this little gathering for schools, students from different schools to come together, do presentations and know about students.
Mother of the Day and former Executive Director Marketing of the NTA urged the children to embrace discipline and take their studies seriously to secure a better future.
By the special grace of God, we all come back next year to celebrate, and many, many years to come. NTA is a family, so I wish everyone in NTA a successful year ending.
The Zonal Director, Lagos Network Center, Nick Onyishi, noted that NTA remains resolute and committed to upholding its mandate of corporate social responsibility while expressing appreciation to all sponsors for making the 2024 a memorable one.
It is all in the spirit of, the season. It is Christmas season. It is season for happiness. It is season for love. It is season for getting together.
NTA2 Children's Christmas Party is one event children look forward to every year. Christmas! In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide will continue with Fatima Hassan in Makurdi after the break. Do stay with us.
As this year draws to a close, we would like to express our sincere gratitude for your continued support. From breaking news to heartwarming stories, we are committed to bringing you credible content and delivering captivating programs that keep you glued to your screens. Our team is committed to providing exceptional service to delight our clients. We say thank you to those who have supported us through the year. from government agencies to corporate clients, political parties, religious bodies, and, most importantly, our viewers. As we welcome the new year, we look ahead with a promise to bring you the best in broadcasting as we continue this journey with you. Season's greetings from all of us at NTA.
The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, FNIPR, cordially invites Commissioners of Information and Orientation and Strategy, Permanent Secretaries, stakeholders in the information sector, public communication managers, marketing communicators, and the general public to the 48th edition of the National Council on Information and National Orientation, holding in Kaduna City, Kaduna State. The National Council is the highest policy decision body in the sector and is expected to deliberate on the theme, Enhancing Public Information Management for Inclusive Governance. With the renewed hope agenda in focus and make critical decisions, the council meeting is scheduled as follows. Dates: 11th December 2024, arrival. 12th December 2024, technical sessions. 13th December 2024, council meetings. Venue: Hotel 17, number 6 Tafawa Balewa Way, Lafia Road, Kaduna City, Kaduna State. Time: 9 a.m. daily. Mrs. Comfort Ajiboye, Director, Overseeing Office of the Permanent Secretary. Announcer.
Welcome to Newcastle.
This Saturday, Newcastle United.
Gordon, and the header is a beauty.
Leicester City.
A swing from Ayew. Oh, they've done it! In the 98th minute of the game.
Newcastle United versus Leicester City. Live on Sporty TV. Sportybet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
Hey Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. With CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
This Saturday, live on Sporty TV. Juventus. Venezia. Juventus versus Venezia. Live on Sporty TV. Sportybet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
You're welcome back. With about 6 years left to achieve the 2030 global targets to end tuberculosis, critical stakeholders led by political leaders must recommit to collective action aimed at stopping the disease in its track. This is the appeal of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu to international delegates and partners from 62 countries who attended the 38th board meeting of Stop TB Partnership Global held at the conference center of the Presidential Villa. The thematic focus of the high-level meeting is canvassing needed political leadership to end tuberculosis while embracing her role to drive political leadership for the campaign. The Nigeria First Lady insists that the campaign must prioritize awareness and integrated service delivery that guarantees that no Nigerian is left behind.
Are not just numbers, they represent real people, their struggles, and the profound impact of this disease. While the statistics are disturbing, it should be also propel our hope, commitment, and determination to eradicate this global health crisis. As we gather for this important meeting, let us remember that we have the knowledge, the tools, and most importantly, the will to make TB a disease of the past. Therefore, our goals are attainable. Let us move forward with urgency and determination.
But to fight it requires a multifaceted approach, which means we have to work together to prioritize and extend our advocacy to all levels of society, all levels of government, so that our combined effort will result in the improvements that we seek and we know is possible.
We are very happy as partners, and the Stop TB, we will always be here for Nigeria. But it's extremely important that is the country standing up for their people and saying, I want to cure them, and I want to treat them, and I have the ambition, I have the tools, and I have the people. Maybe I don't have all the money, but that will not stop me.
Public awareness, early detection and treatment have been identified as best options to curtail Norma disease. Norma, a gangrenous infection of the mouth, is also known as the face of poverty, obvious among malnourished children lacking good oral hygiene between ages 2 to 6. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports that with a mortality rate between 80 to 90%, the Ministry of Health and partners have declared health actions to decrease the burden in the country.
It is a disease that not only causes severe physical disfigurement, but also leads to profound social and psychological impact on its victims. The burden of Norma is heavy, but it is not unsurmountable.
We must address the underlying drivers of Norma: poverty, malnutrition, and inadequate access to health care.
Nigeria is poised for the eradication of this highly preventable and treatable disease.
Nigeria played a leading role in pushing for the listing of Norma as a neglected tropical disease by the World Health Organization in 2023, which is expected to attract global attention and support to an end in Nigeria. The federal government has reiterated commitments to designing policies and programs that will support its drive to reduce the rate of child and maternal mortality in the country. This came to the fore during a formal presentation of the 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy Study facilitated by the National Population Commission and the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare in Kano. Habibu Hussaini tells us more.
The 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy Study is the third in the series, with the first and second conducted in 2014 and 2019 respectively.
The study seeks to uncover why so many children under the age of 5 and women of productive age are lost. This study is about, it's more than just numbers or data points. It is about real lives and real families. It is about mothers. It is about fathers and children who deserves a healthier, more supportive environment.
The study has so far covered about 19 local government areas in Kano State. In Kano, Habib Hussein, NTA News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has expressed deep grief over the tragic road accident in Maiduguri that claimed the lives of some young graduates from the Borno State University and left many others injured. The Vice President regrets that a moment of achievement and joy that should have marked a significant milestone in these young students' lives had turned into an unimaginable tragedy. In a condolence message this Thursday, Vice President Shettima notes that the loss of these bright young lives is not just a loss for their families, but a loss for Borno State and the nation as the embodied hope, promise, and aspirations of a brighter future. Their untimely departure, the statement says, leaves an irreplaceable void in the grieving families who are enduring the pain of losing their loved ones in such heartbreaking circumstances. And to the students recovering from injuries, it wishes them swift and full recovery, with an assurance that the federal and Borno State's governments will provide them with the needed support. Let's now go for another set of messages nationwide. We'll be right back.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise and land up the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear God, with undying demand, we make solutions, we make passion, yeah. It's a message in me, we have more than the solution. We are Nigeria, we are Nigeria, strength and unity, we know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
One of the better things about this season, now our better times together.
Time to go.
The no disturb me time. The dramatic time. The exciting time.
Me wait already since, but I don't wait for that now.
The nothing fit stop my shine time. With GoTV, it's easy to capture better times. Reconnect and watch GoTV with plenty football, new series, films, cartoon, lower price on Super Plus, and more entertainment. Now better season for everybody with GoTV. Love it.
This Saturday, FC St. Pauli. Werder Bremen. Watch live FC St. Pauli versus Werder Bremen on Sporty TV.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the German Bundesliga.
For a certain period of time, shouts of joy and faces of defeat punctuate the daily activities of Newi. The reason, the Kingsley Obiuku Foundation Unity Cup 2024.
The vision behind the Unity Cup was simply community development and looking at creative ways in which we can reduce the current high crime rates in the South.
This year's tournament brings together the towns of Amici, Azibu, Ekulumiri, Osumeyi, Ukpo, Akuihedi, Ebenato, Esinifite, Unubi, and Otu. I feel excited. The foundation's efforts remind us that with vision and dedication, local initiatives can create lasting positive change across Africa and beyond. Join us. Let us move forward together.
This Sunday, live Sporty TV.
El centro de Alex Baena, remate para Sigo.
Villarreal versus Real Betis. Watch live on Sporty TV.
Brought to you by SportyBet. Play with champions.
Thanks for staying tuned. We now go over to our Port Harcourt Network Center, and Diba Bari will be our guide and tell us stories, including the Chief of Naval Staff on amphibious operations.
Successful launch of naval amphibious boat services at sea marks a turning point for an era of uninterrupted trade, shipping, oil and gas, as well as efficient operation of the blue economy. Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogara said this while appraising exercise Duan Obaji at sea. Kingsley Amaji reports.
The Chief of Naval Staff Sea Inspection is strategic in the yearly Naval Calendar of Operation, providing the CNS opportunity to assess the naval operational state, capabilities, and preparedness to defend the nation's territorial waters.
The essence of the Chief of Naval Staff annual sea inspection and exercise is to test our operational readiness. That is the operational readiness of the fleet to combat crimes in the maritime environment, as well as readiness to meet with our statutory military role of defending the nation's territorial integrity and sovereignty.
This time, Nigerian Navy was able to launch its amphibious special boat service into the deep waters. This is seen by the authorities as a major inroad towards efficient policing of the sea against criminal incursion.
The efficiency of our special boat service here, and I'm quite satisfied with the level of training that they have.
Nigerian Navy also disclosed that it is investing in technology and cyber warfare towards efficient crime detection, assuring the international community that Nigeria Maritime is a safe investment destination.
The presence of the Chief of Naval Staff at this 2024 annual sea inspection pictures how a leader would inspire his subordinates to achieve set objectives.
Key areas of the exercise are communication, vessel boarding, search and seizure, small arms firing, fleet maneuver, and amphibious raid. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Former Governor of Rivers State, Sir Celestine Omeya, has flagged off the construction of over 20 kilometers Egui-Afara Road for inter- and intrastate movement. Government House correspondent Osinachi Samuel reports that Governor Siminalayi Fubara assured the people of more projects.
Rivers State must stand to grow. We must all put hands together with the Governor of Rivers State to grow Rivers State.
That is the official flag off of the construction of over 20 kilometers Egui-Afara Mba Road by Sir Celestine Omeya amidst cheers. Governor Siminalayi Fubara says he will not limit the development of Eche to road infrastructure. He announced the commencement of agricultural projects in the area as he directs the Commissioner for Works to extend the Egui-Afara Mba project to the boundary between Eche and neighboring states.
Thank you for believing in us, and thank you for still standing with us. Our thank you will not be limited to the construction of road alone. Our thank you will still extend in the development of your people, manpower development.
Commissioner for Works Elokata Siamadi, Chairman Eche Local Government Council Uzodin Mawafo, and other leaders in the area affirmed their support to Fubara's administration.
We have 9,000 meters of drainage in the populated areas, and the road is 10.3 meters wide. 7.3 of that width is the carriageway, and 3 meters is the shoulder.
It's a testimony of the good things to come, and the one that has started. The entire people of Egui, Afara, Mba are very happy.
The entire people of Osuso clan, we are saying we support him. We thank you for His Excellency for what you are doing for Eche people.
From Afara community in Eche local government area of Rivers State, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Ayodeji for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thanks, Diba Bari. Residents of communities within the Federal Capital Territory have lamented the disappearance of rails on footbridges and bus stops alongside manholes provided to protect pedestrians and other road users. Aisha Bashir sought opinions on this menace, which is depriving citizens of effective use of public infrastructure.
Research reveals that most of the protective rails installed at bus stops by government have been vandalized.
It's bad. Even the iron along the road, they have all taken them.
I think they are not the kind of people that doesn't really appreciate what the government is doing. If not, this property is to serve the people.
Currently, a number of roads in the FCT have been rid of facilities like lampstands, manholes and water chamber covers, culverts, steel rails, gully pots, and telecommunication ducts.
People that have vandalized properties, especially the manhole covers, is a very bad something, because sometimes at night when we move without light and it's very dark, those particular potholes we might fall into it, and it's very bad.
The FCT command of NSCDC is poised towards ensuring that all critical national assets and infrastructure, which is our common heritage, is preserved.
Aisha Bashir, NTA News.
Now, correspondent Abdullahi Ajia is live at the central area in Abuja to talk us on this ugly incident and vandalism of public infrastructure. Now, what is the situation like out there, and how has security helped in this challenge?
Okay, thank you very much, Ayodeji. Well, the nation's capital desires the best infrastructure for you and I, as well as every Nigerian. Successive FCT administration have invested so much in infrastructure development. Unfortunately, one criminality that has over the time taken away some of the beauty of the infrastructure for you and I to enjoy is the criminality of vandalism of some of this infrastructure. A drive around town today before this present location where I am shows that there is serious vandalism of this public infrastructure, which has gone unabated. Yes, security agencies have oftentimes tried to nip in the bud some of these concerns, but I must tell you that they still have more work to do in trying to curb this ugly trend. Here I am at the Olusegun Obasanjo Way in Garki area, and if you can see very well, the destruction of this critical infrastructure, that is the bridge railings, is one that calls for serious concern from all authorities. Yes, just like they're saying that if the bird is flying without perching, the hunter will also shoot without missing. Yes, the FCT administration, I know in recent time, has also come up with new idea of saying, okay, when we are developing new infrastructure, we should be able to, use material that will not attract vandalism or vandals to come and steal some of these materials for their own selfish and economic gain. And I know such development has yielded result. If you go around in some of the new infrastructure that is being built around town, you realize that the old use of some of this material is no longer there. Yes, apart from the bridge railings, the manhole is one concern also that has its social implication. A number of people have fallen victim of some of this manhole, maybe probably at night when they are going without noticing the manhole that has been stolen. Some of them have been injured, and some of them also have gotten injuries that you and I can only imagine. Yes, security agencies are doing their own bit. We've seen arrests several times, but I think they need to up their game to be able to nip in the bud some of these concerns of public infrastructure.
I'd like to thank you, Ajia, for that update on the destruction of public infrastructure, particularly manholes in the Federal Capital Territory. Thanks for the update. All right, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has emphasized the importance of the national policy on marine and blue economy, describing it as a strategic initiative to unlock the vast potentials of Nigeria's marine resources. Speaking at the final validation workshop in Abuja, Oyetola expressed his determination to expand opportunities beyond land-based development and establish the sector as a key driver of national prosperity that aligns with Africa's Agenda 2063. Vivian Eziadife reports.
The policy for marine and blue economy, which had its technical workshop held in Lagos, brought together industry players for the final validation workshop in Abuja. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, emphasized that the workshop builds on the outcome of the first validation, aiming to refine priorities and solidify a framework for advancing the marine sector.
I encourage everyone to contribute meaningfully as the input is critical to solve a sustainable, prosperous economy for Nigeria.
We look forward to the outcome of the consideration and validation of this policy draft.
Guys that have already shared the text of the draft policy this morning with a few of our Belgian
leadership of the Honorable Minister and the Permanent Secretary to support with the articulation of a strategy roadmap and the policy for the ministry.
There must be legal provisions. The law will be established in all respect.
The two-day final policy workshop for marine and blue economy in Nigeria marked a significant step towards harnessing the sector's potential for sustainable growth and development. Vivian Eziadife, NTA News.
Time now to go to the northeast of the country at our Maiduguri Network Center, and Abubakar will be leading us from here.
That's true, Ayodeji. Good to see you. Towards complementing ongoing efforts to support, rebuild, and rehabilitate flood-affected communities in Borno State, the Presidential Committee on Flood Relief and Rehabilitation has handed over food and non-food items worth millions of naira to the state government. The items were presented to the Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur by the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Zubaida Umar. Murjanatu Hassan will now tell us more.
The intervention by the Presidential Committee on Relief and Rehabilitation was in light of the September devastating flood that ravaged various communities in Borno. Borno State, which has faced many challenges over the years ranging from insurgency to natural disasters, the devastating flood caused by the collapse of Alo Dam brought new challenges, displacing thousands of families, disturbing livelihoods, and increasing vulnerabilities of already fragile communities. Borno State Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur expressed gratitude to the federal government and the donors and assured every affected individual received their support.
We just received this item, about 17 different items of food and non-food, relief items were donated to the government of Borno State for on or distribution to the people or the victims of flood. So I believe it will go a long way in helping those who are affected by the flood. So we appreciate the federal government.
Other stakeholders said the intervention is critical as rebuilding and recovery efforts are required to complement the effort of the state government.
The committee has come to the aid of many communities that are not only faced by flood but by communal clashes and some other problems.
With the proactive steps taken by many actors, a lot needs to be done to ensure all aspects of relief and recovery are managed, utmost care, transparency and accountability. In Maiduguri, Murjanatu Hassan, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency, NOA, Borno State Directorate, has launched an awareness campaign addressing key societal issues including HIV and AIDS, security sensitization, the dangers of get-rich-quick syndrome, and the ongoing tax reform bill. The media conference and rally aims to enlighten the general public and partner with the media in addressing key societal issues. Angarju Anagawa completes the story.
In the speech of the Director General Isa Onilu, read by Director Planning, Research and Statistics Nura Kurumi, highlights 5 key initiatives of concern by the government, He noted that government has joined the international community to intensify the fight against HIV/AIDS and urged citizens to take advantage of its free HIV services. He said security is a priority and the government is strengthening security architecture by providing equipment, training and funding, while noting that the implementation of youth programs are ongoing and the government will support small and medium enterprises with grants and loans. He also enjoyed its commitment to protecting the rights of every Nigerian and noted that tax reforms are being simplified and the process will be transparent and impactful. Nua State Director Borno State, Michael Daniel, noted that the government initiative is to address critical issues and called on collective responsibility of citizens, stakeholders and institutions for a healthier and safer and ethical values.
We really want people to get aware about these 5 critical issues so that at least we will put our country on the pedestal of development.
Similarly, media conference had in attendance media professionals. The interactive nature of the session allowed for a robust exchange of ideas.
What the media can do is what we have just started now by partnering with the NTA to see that we take these messages down to the grassroots.
Orientation Agency has begun its sensitization rally among members of the public. In Maiduguri, Angarju Anagawa, NTA News.
And from Maiduguri, we shall now return to Ayodeji in Abuja. Good evening.
Thanks, Abubakar, in our Maiduguri Network Center. As a countdown to the 2025 National Sports Festival in Ogun State intensifies, efforts are ongoing to put facilities at the MKO Abiola International Stadium to be intact. Now let's join Lekon Agbode, who is at the MKO Abiola International Stadium, to give us an update about the upgrade of facilities that we are having out there ahead of the championship next year.
Thank you, Ayo. We are the MK Abiola Stadium, Abeokuta. This stadium is one of the 4 that Ogun State is boast of. And talking about the National Sports Festival, as January date is fast approaching, the state government is doing a lot to ensure that all the facilities that will be used for the championship are being renovated and put into good shape. And there's a rumor that the championship is to be postponed till May. But I have the Commissioner for Sports in Ogun State, Honorable Wasiu Isiaka, with me to either debunk or to confirm this rumor that the National Sports Festival is to be postponed. Honorable Commissioner, now the issue of National Sports Festival, seeing the level of preparation by the state government in terms of the facilities, the rumor is just that the championship is to be postponed. I want you to confirm this. Is it true?
Well, thank you very much. I think you have put it rightly. It's a rumor, and well, I think as you say, I'm hearing it for the first time from you, because that the local organizing committee and the main organizing committee will have a meeting in Abeokuta in the next 7, 8 or 9 or 10 days. So if anything like that will happen, I think that body will be the one that will tell anybody that anything like that is happening. But as far as we are concerned, the state is preparing to host the nation in January. Start from 12th of January to 26th of January. So if there's going to be anything to the contrary, maybe after the meeting of the MOC and LOC, we'll hear that. But as far as we are concerned, in Ogun State, we are preparing to host the nation in January.
So, thank you very much. That is it. Talking about at the sporting level, the state is also ready. The facilities, the work is ongoing to ensure that the facilities have been put into place. And from MK Abiola International Stadium in Abeokuta, I'm Lekon Agbode. Thank you.
Lekon Agbode, I'd like to appreciate you for your contribution, and of course to let Nigerians know that there is no shift in date at the moment. It's still January 2025 pending any other adjustments or latest developments. Now let's cross over to our Makudi Network Center, and Fatima will be our guide.
Welcome and thanks for joining us in Makudi. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has called for increased collaboration of all stakeholders in the fight against corruption. Acting Zonal Director, EFCC Makudi Zonal Command, Anslem Ozioko, made the call during a town hall meeting organized by the command in Makudi. Blessing Omecha Ebute has details.
The anti-corruption fight in Nigeria has been a long-standing battle by various relevant agencies. In tackling this menace, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has evolved several strategies in achieving a corruption-free society. One of such is the town hall meeting of the EFCC Makudi Zonal Command, where stakeholders discussed a wide range of issues on how to tackle the menace of economic and financial crimes.
What a better time to hold this kind of program, knowing fully that we are in the season time, and this is the time that many of us always do our New Year resolution.
We have tried possible means by uniting the youth together and also showing in different ways of getting money, not by collecting money or forcibly collecting money from developers or builders within the state.
Acting Zonal Director, EFCC Makudi Zonal Command, Amslen Ozioko, reiterates the Commission's resolve in prioritizing corruption prevention mechanisms because of its effectiveness and cost efficiency.
If you try to do anything to cut short anything in order to acquire money, at the end of the day, if you're arrested, one of the things we do, we don't just arrest you, prosecute you, convict you. We also recover everything that you have collected from you, obtained one way or the other. So at the end of the day, you are left with nothing. So what is the essence?
The event is a prelude to the International Anti-Corruption Day with the theme, Uniting Youth Against Corruption, Shaping Tomorrow's Integrity. In Makudi, Blessing Omeke Ebute, NTA.
And that's it from Makudi. It's now back to Ayodeji in Abuja.
Thanks, Fatima in Makudi. Katsina State is witnessing a transformative era of growth and development driven by the state government's massive infrastructure development drive. Governor Dikko Ratner has set the tone with the inauguration of a road project at the groundbreaking of over 56 billion naira worth of road projects aimed at improving the lives of the citizens and unlocking the economic potentials of the state. Awal Haliru reports.
The infrastructure development drive, which includes the inauguration of the newly dualized Kofa-Soro to Kofa-Guga road, the construction of a 54.7-kilometer road connecting predominantly farming communities in villages and towns of Charanchi and Kankia local government areas of the state, and the groundbreaking ceremony for 3 major road dualization projects in Funtua is said to have a profound impact on the state's economy and the lives of its people. The newly dualized Kofa-Soro to Kofa-Guga road, which was completed in 9 months, has significantly improved traffic flow and reduced travel time.
It's just a mini project aimed at enhancing our state infrastructure, by extension, the lives of our people.
The 3.5 billion naira project is a shining example of the state government's unwavering commitment to building a better future for its citizens. The state government has invested 36.2 billion naira in constructing the 54.7-kilometer road project connecting various communities across Charanchi and Kankia local government areas. Governor Ratna has also performed the groundbreaking ceremony for the 3 major road dualization projects in Funtua. The state government has invested in various infrastructure projects designed to support economic development in Katsina State. Awan Halaru, NTA News.
And that's nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. On behalf of the entire production crew, enjoy the rest of your evening. This is the Nigerian Television Authority. Bye-bye.
What is fake news? A false information with no verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos, and disaffection between persons, groups, or countries. Fake news facilitates extremism. Fake news creates panic and distrust. Fake news breeds hatred. Fake news kills. Don't joke with it. Don't be in a rush. Verify your sources and facts. It is better late than fake. This message is brought to you by NTA News 24.
You know, this discussion today was part of our discussion yesterday. I remember. Oh, okay, fine, good. So it's a good thing we're having it today.
Honestly.
All right. President Bola Tinubu's government is taking a big step towards fixing Nigeria's laws by setting up a team to review them.
This move is to make the legal system better for the country. Now, the last time such a review happened was in 2004. So it's safe to say it's long overdue.
Yeah, it is long overdue. The team led by Olawale Fakponda, a senior advocate of Nigeria, will look at the existing laws and give recommendations on how to improve them. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has thanked the team for taking on this important task.
In fact, that gratitude is just for accepting. The Attorney General also promised that the government will deliver a new updated legal framework by the start of the 2025 legal year. Now, that is a very big step towards making the legal system fairer and better for everyone in Nigeria and truly be the last hope for the common man, as they say.
Yeah, we hope. The team's work will focus on fixing problems in the current laws and making sure they match global standards. Let's not forget that President Tinubu has already shown his support for legal reforms by signing orders to improve the petroleum sector. This shows his determination to make Nigeria's laws stronger and more effective.
And indeed, we have been talking about our laws. Demola, you remember, of course, in our conversation yesterday about flaring and all that. Everyone, agreed that, yes, in terms of the spirit or the letter of the laws, we have no problem. But, enforcement has always been our problem. But this particular team will be looking at, conformity and whether it conforms with global standard, whether they are outdated, where we need to rejig and all that. And it is a really commendable step. But of course, there is a lot of work to be done. On the surface, it's commendable, but if you go deep into the task, ahead for this team, it's really something that we really need to talk about. So on this note, I want to really warmly welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. Again, as we said, it is an important move to review Nigeria's law. It's a step that could change our future.
You're right, Claire. It's a step that could change our future. And we will break down the goals, the process, and what this could mean for Nigerians. I am Ademola Adeoye. Thank you for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. As always, we're broadcasting live from our station here in Abuja on the network service.
And joining us here to discuss the proposed review of Nigerian laws, let me introduce Dr. Samuel Oni. Is the Associate Professor and Head of the Department Public Policy and Administration, Miva Open University. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you so very
for today's conversation.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. Also here is Aliu Lemos, SAN, is a legal practitioner. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me this morning.
Okay.
And we also have joining us via Zoom all the way from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Professor Joy Ngozi Izilo. And she's a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, and officer of the Order of the Niger. That's, of course, OON. She's a distinguished law professor, emeritus dean of law at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, and former United Nations rapporteur on trafficking in persons, especially with bias for women and children. That's between 2008 and 2024. Professor Joy, 2014, I mean, I beg your pardon. Professor Joy Izilo, your resume is such that I found it difficult to abridge, but always a pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Madam Claire.
Okay, let's start with you, Professor Ezeolu, and let's just ask why is it necessary to review the Nigerian laws at this time, and how will it impact the country's development?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, law is constantly evolving and very dynamic, and law reforms should bring laws to speed with modern socio-economic changes, including technological advancement. It ought to be, continuous, a constant phenomenon, and quite progressive in terms of in fact, there is a slight technical distinction between law review and law revision. Maybe we talk about it, but let me just quickly talk about that. Law reform is supposed to be, progressively reviewing law, and it can be, painstaking, but it has to be ongoing. And then law revision talks about revision to update maybe a set of statutes that is obsolete, and then but usually there is actually a term of years that every law ought to be reauthorized, if I'm to use some terms that is used in certain jurisdiction, like in the US. So the law is supposed to be constantly, reauthorized, and our laws are obsolete, so outdated that that is not even talking about 2 decades, but some have never been revised since they were handed down by the colonialists. So some legacy of colonialism, they are still there in our laws. There are ones that are so outdated, and we've been just cherry picking in terms of revision. But like I said, revision is different, and also we need both law review and law revision. So it is imperative that we review our law to harmonize it with modern development, conflicting areas, consolidate it, even codify some that are still part of probably customary laws that people are not aware, but yet governs a number of people, because you know that law regulates affairs of people and supposed to protect public interest, and then of course regulate corporation. Not that we don't make laws. The Constitution is very clear. National Assembly is empowered with lawmaking power in Section 4 of the Constitution 1999 as amended. But that's also different. And of course, several laws have been made since the onset of our nascent democracy in 1999. But you find that there are ones that are in the law. I can think of so many, labor laws, Matrimonial Causes Act. There is a lot of conflicting laws. Uniformity is important, and it's important to have consistency and most importantly, constitutionality, because some are a bit conflicting now with the Constitution. And there are ones that are so obsolete that even in the light of ratified international laws, they are supposed to have been brought up to date, to be in uniform or harmonized to the obligation of Nigeria, whether regionally within the African Union or internationally as a member of United Nations. So that consistency is important. We have done
Yeah, Prof, thank you. You've raised 2 very fundamental issues. We all know that the world we live is ever evolving, and of course there is need for the way we do things to also evolve, to conform with the needs of the time. So our laws must be constantly, or should be constantly reviewed, and it must be consistent. That's the 2 things I'm taking away from your opening contribution. So let's also come back to the studio. Dr. Oni, who is the head of Department, of course, Public Policy and Administration. I just would like to know, what are the challenges that outdated laws are causing us? And what are some of those critical laws that are outdated?
Thank you so very much. We're talking about those things that the outdated laws are causing Nigeria. Quite enormous. If you're going to be looking at them, we're looking at the aspect of individual citizens. We're looking at the effects on governance and administration. We're looking at the effects on businesses. Okay, so the effects are quite enormous. Outdated law, you see, don't conform with realities. Okay, so that tends to make things very difficult. Okay, we talked about the digital age now, and as Prof said, some of our laws are colonial relics. Okay, and so you begin to find difficulties in trying to, this law, operating in this digital age with a legal framework that had been dated even before the digital age. Okay, ease of doing business, for instance. Okay, so the fact that we have laws that are outdated, laws that are conflicting, so makes business operations very difficult. You see, the way business operates now is different from previously. So we need a law that that sees or that understand the peculiarity, the reality of the situation. So you can see that from the economic perspective, it's really costing a lot. Then again, individual citizens, for instance, we have some laws, as Prof said, our society is a kind of, it's evolutionary. Society is evolutionary, okay? And the human interactions, changes. As it changes, there needs to be law that, reflect the changing nature. Okay, we talked about law, for instance, marriage law, basically customary laws. Okay, these laws probably worked in the past because of that social reality at that time. Now things have moved. So it becomes now difficult if those laws in the past will not be the guiding framework for this present day marriage issues. For instance, Child Right Act, for instance. Okay, so social involvement. Okay, I understand the fact that Nigeria is seriously, involved, is a religious state, for instance, customs and traditions. But those things, for instance, which were not revealed then, now being revealed. Okay, I talked about, for instance, child marriage. Okay, so I talked about child marriage. Okay, those issues could be something that could work or could fit in the past.
At the time.
At the time.
But what now, about, let me even come to your area of discipline, which is policy formulation and administration. How do these outdated laws impact on policy formulation?
Okay, you see, the thing is this: policy should be at the interest of the public, and interest of the public changes. Okay, so changes with values, changes with realities of time. So that is it. If we still have outdated legal framework that informed policies, then policies itself becomes outdated by reasons of the legal framework that brings it on board. So seriously, on policies and administration, obsolete laws seriously, negatively affect policy formulation, policy implementation. Okay, you now have an individual, for instance, who, in this digital age, where informations and all of that can be collected through technology and all of that. But you now have a legal system which does not recognize this and recognize this. For instance, we talked about the issue of the Electoral Act. Okay, the Electoral Act, which is the legal framework for the implementation of elections in Nigeria. Okay, so if the Electoral Act is not up to date, I know it was reviewed in 2022, okay, giving way for electronically transmission of results, okay. However, even from then, there have been changes, or there are still some other areas that will need, update, okay, which would also impact administration of election in Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel Oni, for your perspective there. Let's bring our conversation down to Mr. Liu Lemo, SAN. And you've listened to the two other guests, and they've given their own perspective about the need for the review of the law. From your own perspective as a practitioner, what are the key areas of Nigerian laws that you think they need urgent reviews, and why?
Okay. Thank you very much. See, being a practicing lawyer, day in, day out, we go to court and we see how the interpretation of this law affects the rights and liberties of individuals, how it affects businesses and foreign investors coming into Nigeria. Our laws at this moment are simply not living up to the realities of the world we find ourselves in today. Most of our laws are still colonial relics. And even the laws that were passed after colonization are still not adequate to meet up with the age we live in today. Since the turn of millennium, advancement in human society, if it used to be in months and years, it's now in decades. You see the advancement of the advancement of digital technology, the internet, has turned the whole world into a global village. Yeah. So our laws should not be only cater to the needs of Nigerians, but to cater to the needs of an evolving and a fast-moving global community. As I speak to Nigeria, it's very, very, very far left behind. In fact, it is only until the recent few years that the government is actually making serious efforts to make our laws meet up with the global standard, as there's an urgent quest to have foreign direct investment come into Nigeria, because the Nigerian economy cannot develop alone in isolation. Mm-hmm. We need foreign direct investments in Nigeria to help stimulate our economy. So foreign direct investment cannot come into Nigeria when your laws are obsolete. Our court system does not even encourage foreign investors to come into Nigeria. When you have your dispute before the court, they take years. They are matters, for example, I think a few months ago we were at the Supreme Court during the validity session of one of the justices of the Supreme Court. There was a case that lingered in Nigeria for over 40 years. Wow. The case was started by a lawyer whose son took over. The case started before the son was born. The son was born, went to school, university, law school, was called to bar, and then continued that case. So imagine a foreigner who wants to come and invest in Nigeria, and then a dispute arises in the course of business, and this business has to take up to 40 years. How does that encourage foreigners to bring direct investment into Nigeria? So every day, apart from foreigners, you see, every day in Nigeria, you see the common man, justice is being delayed. And in most cases, justice delayed is justice denied. Cases linger in court for lengthy and donkey years. That does not inspire confidence in the system of administration of justice. So more needs to be done. You see, the only thing we prioritize in Nigeria, unfortunately, are elections. After every 4 years, the electoral law is being reviewed. The same should apply to other areas of human endeavor. At the very least, we say 5 years. This law should be revealed in 5 years. The Abuja, Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which was passed by the National Assembly in 2015, it took over 20 years to pass that law, because the previous one we had was in the 70s. From 1970s to 2015, about 40 years before the criminal law was amended. Now, even the Abuja is almost semi-obsolete. Abuja was passed in 2015. That's the most recent Administration of Criminal Justice law we have in Nigeria that applies federally. It's like by next year it will be 10 years old. And even that is not able to keep up with the fast development we're experiencing in our society today. So on a daily basis, we see it, how it plays out. And judges will tell you, their duty is only to interpret the laws. Mm-hmm. They don't make the laws. It is these laws that have been passed by the National Assembly, however long they have been passed, that is the laws that the judges can only interpret, and that is the law that applies to human behavior. And so far, it has been inadequate to cater for the fast-evolving human society we live in Nigeria today.
You know, you have touched on a very important aspect, referencing the lawmakers.
Yes.
Of course, it is the responsibility of the lawmakers to make laws. And that's why, Professor Ezilo, before we even move further, let's look at the source, where this review is coming from. We're talking about, team of legal professionals who have been put together to review an existing law. Ordinarily, it is the responsibility, it is within the purview of the national and state assemblies, to make these laws. Except, of course, if there is an executive, bill coming in. So, I'm just, is this the right move? Will the National Assembly and all the lawmakers not feel, I mean, this is a usurpation of their responsibilities.
You're left out.
The constitutional powers given to the National Assembly to make laws or State Assembly to make is there. And you can see that they are making laws, but laws that are just dealing with the immediate needs as they see it, with executive bills or their own private bills. You will see that since onset of our democracy, one of the first set of laws, ICPC Law 2000, then you have the EFCC Act, then you have cybercrime, some other laws, several of them, Terrorism Act, Anti-Trafficking Act, that's the NAPTIP, the one that established NAPTIP, and so many others. But you look at them, they are just dealing with issues of, so they are forward-looking, kind of, not just saying maybe I'll use this in a limited sense, because some of the laws, if I critique it, are not that forward-looking. But some are forward-looking, but they are making laws for the immediate. They are not going back. It is not their tax to review law, but they can also, by making new laws, repeal the one that is existing. But the problem, of course, we run a pluralistic society, and sources of our laws are quite many. And then we are federation. The federal and the state also have competencies to make laws, and we have national, Law Reform Commission. Let's not forget it. This is an important institutional mechanism for continuous review of laws and revision of laws within the contemplated period of time, like 10 years or 15. In some climes, 5 years, they will review laws, they will reauthorize. But in Nigeria, we have not been living up to that expectation. It requires expertise, but everything is reduced to political appointment. People that are not people who are supposed to occupy certain positions are put in there, and the result is that we spend money, we maintain institutions, and then we do the same thing over and over without a substantial result. I want to say, I hope with this, because the Attorney General have given his commitment and is determined, I can see from all his personality, to see that these laws are revised, and they have put in place a highly competent individual. But I want to tell you, 6 months is not it for law reform. It requires a lot of thoroughness. I don't know what exactly is their mandate, because I hear review, and like I said, review is different from revision. But what I expect them to do is both codification, both the harmonization, both review, both revision, so that they will bring our laws to speed with contemporary needs, and they will remove obsolete laws. Unnecessary laws will be deleted, so to speak, from our status book, and then ICT technology will take place. I cite example, for example, there are ones that nobody is even observing. That's nobody even know that there is a law. For example, people working a night shift like nurses. The law prohibits night work for women, for example. And then you see that there are, so can you imagine our hospitals without those nurses? And nobody obeys this law. The laws also prohibit underground work for even female, including female engineers. And I'm sure in some places and oil companies, people are even going about their duty. I recall one time I took a case of a mining engineer who was refused employment then in the Ministry of Mine, and I wrote to the then Attorney General, late Bola Ige. And I recall, I still have his response. I'm out of the country, I will have been. He said, Joy, my learned friend, go and be pushing, let's push for reform and the review and revision of the labor law. Because if that is done, it will bring it up to speed and deal with the issue. That the issue that is being, that she's fighting against is prohibited by law. But it's just because it's a single case of a woman. I think she was I was fighting for her case there. But these are things that are in our laws, and there are so many in the criminal law. Not to talk of the fines and punishment. Some are laughable. If you look at, you're talking about 15. Some are laughable because they are not even in line with even the economic values and then our even entire socioeconomic development. So let us not forget we have National Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Are they doing their work? I may not be able to answer that. But these things are institutional mechanisms that are supposed to be activated. It's not just a duty of National Assembly or they will be making laws as empowered. They can also repeal laws, but then the old laws and revision, they have to do it and bring it to their attention for necessary action.
Okay, so let me quickly introduce our guest who has joined us from Lagos, Sam Elanya. Sam Elanya is founder, editor, lawnigeria.com. Mr. Elanya, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure you must be listening into our conversation, and we've gotten to the point where we're looking at the effectiveness of, the task of this team. Should we be rejoicing, and how might it address, issues like citizenship rights, as mentioned by Professor Joy Ilo before she left us?
It's important that always when we talk about law review, that Nigerians appreciate how we approach these things in Nigeria. In fact, in Nigeria, we have devised for ourselves two categories of law development that we embrace. We are the ones who fashioned that one. It's peculiar to us. So on one level, we have constitutional development, where we are all forever trying to become founding fathers. Everybody wants to remake the Constitution over and over again. Nobody says to us, there has to be an end to constitution making. The foundation is only laid once, and you build upon it, subsequently. And so because we don't do that, we don't understand how important what we are talking about now is, because this is the entire administrative complex of our country. Without it, our agencies cannot work well. Without it, all the things that go to satisfying or bringing about the Chapter 2 objectives of our Constitution will never come to pass. And so, why is this useful, or how can we look at it today? The first thing is to remember that their task is not to amend the Constitution, and their task is not to amend or to make new laws. I've heard quite a few of our panelists say some things I find disturbing. Elections have consequences, and there's a reason why we have National Assembly. And part of the reason is because of what we are hearing now. The idea that people can sit down in some hotel rooms or some halls or wherever, not elected, and sit down and review and remake the laws to bring about ideological conclusions that they would prefer. It's not what our laws envisages. And so when you look at what they are doing today, I already find difficulties, and I think perhaps I can start from there before I get back to what you asked me. The first thing is about the Law Reform Commission. I don't see how what is being done right now will pass muster legally, because I know some people are already preparing challenges to it at the court level. Because under our laws, once the National Assembly prescribes a mode for doing a thing, if you follow any other mode of doing it, what you are doing is prima facie null and void. And at the moment, we just passed a law in 2022 for the National Law Reform Commission. Under that law, everything that has been given to this committee now has been fully and solely given to the National Law Reform Commission. You cannot take it away. Even that commission cannot by itself decide to delegate that function to any other body. The AG doesn't have the power to interfere with that. And so, except we remember that, first of all, we may just waste all these budgets, do all this work, and then somebody goes to court, it gets knocked out. Secondly, is to remember this. That law reform is not about trying to bring about an idea of society that we would prefer. The word there is reform, not deform or to invent new ideas. And in reformation, you have to go back to what happened in Europe. That's the reformation under Luther and Calvin and all of them. What were they doing? They were trying to restore, quote unquote, Christianity back to what it was under the Bible. So they screamed sola scriptura, which means you must show that everything you want us to have to live our lives by are in accordance with the scripture, identifiable in black and white. And that's what law reform really is about. And so we have at least like 3 platforms or vehicles for doing that. You have the executives, and their mode for doing that is Section 315, where they are allowed to look of the Constitution, where they are allowed to look at the provisions of the law, find out which laws predated the Constitution, make recommendations to the National Assembly, and get some of those laws, quote unquote, reformed. For instance, Since last week, we have been talking about what we call criminal defamation, which is embedded in our criminal code. That's the kind of provision that right now, because of the constitutional guarantee for expression or right of expression, we should have by now gotten that law out of our books. And that's the job of the president, the governors of every state, to say every Nigerian now has a constitutional right to expression. And so you cannot criminalize their speech in deference to the character or reputation of another Nigerian. What is the public interest of the nation in that? We are not doing that. So that is the mode through which the executive can interfere with lawmaking. Now the judiciary also can look at laws already made, and when cases are brought before them, they can decide this law is null and void because they are inconsistent with the Constitution. And by so doing, they help to reform the law. Of course, the National Assembly, of course, by making laws, week in, week out, are doing the same thing. So what does the Law Review Committee now do? Their job is simply to bring all these things together. Bring them together. 1948, we did that. 58, we did that. 1990, we did that. 2001, it was begun and finished in 2004, and a law was made in 2007. In each of those, we must have an enabling law pursuant to the committee, except to have a commission already mandated by law, in this case, our National Law Reform Commission, to do that. And so, what we are doing at the moment should have been get the gentlemen together, they come together, collect all these laws, consolidate what has not been consolidated as amendments, find what has been struck out through judicial pronouncements, and then renumber those laws, look at phraseology, and look at what quote and unquote is difficult to understand, not interpreted. More importantly, and I will stop on this point, I hear a lot about redundant laws. There is no such thing as a redundant law. There is only a law amenable to Constitution or not amenable to Constitution. So you can't say a law is redundant because you in Lagos finds it so. How about the person in Zamfara State? You may be so sophisticated in Abuja or Lagos. The person in Nasarawa, Abuja, Zamfara, that same law you think is redundant can still be useful to them. And so that's why you have to go to the National Assembly. Go there and make your point. That is redundant, they will let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, and you've raised a lot of issues. We will come back because I would also like to know if the laws on citizenship and indigenship is either redundant or outdated or still relevant, to the times in which we live.
We're still discussing the proposed review of the Nigerian laws, and let's go to our guest in Jos Studio, Dr. Shijuade Kayode. We've been talking about the review, but let's look at the mechanism for implementation and enforcement now. What mechanism do you think should be put in place to ensure that the reviewed laws are effective in achieving their intended purposes?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. I believe this ongoing reform is at the instance of the Attorney General of the Federation, and our enforcement laws and procedures are also part of the laws being reviewed. And if this is done, the Attorney General is to submit this, by way of executive bills to the National Assembly for passage. And when they are passed, they will help in the enforcement and implementation of these laws. Because, as it were, Nigeria, we have very good laws, but the problem is in the enforcement and implementation of these laws. And if the implementation and the procedural laws are strengthened, this will allow the agencies responsible for enforcement and implementation to also carry out their work effectively and efficiently. So, this work is a huge one, and of course, saying that the committee should finish this work within 6 months is just a template. The time limits can be extended for them to, consolidate or finish the job, as it were. But it's good that they have started, and this will grant, Nigerians the opportunity to also contribute to the lawmaking, the reform process, as it were. So the most important thing is that the enforcement procedures and the laws should also be part of these reforms, so that this will give the agencies responsible for enforcing the laws more power to become efficient and deliver on the goods. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kayode. I know that when Elia was speaking the other time, Elia was speaking the other time, you were itching to respond to some of his comments. Would you? Okay, you have the time now.
Well, he made the allusion that it is taking away the functions of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Well, this is not the forum to argue, but I think I hold contrary views.
Okay.
The Nigerian Law Reform Commission is much a part of the assignment of this committee. Statutorily and constitutionally, the law gives them the mandate to perform this task over time, periodically, to advise both the Executive and the National Assembly on the aspects of our law that needs reform. But that is slow in coming. Now that the Executive has initiated this law reform function and have co-opted other members of the society jointly with the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, I don't think there's a breach of any law in that respect. If anything, it gives more political impetus to the performing of this task. And it will all relate to achieving the result that we all want from this exercise. Nigerian Reform, the committee is being chaired by the chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Committee, Professor Jumai Audi, who is a very renowned professor and was my lecturer in the university. And then we have other senior members of the legal profession. I counted at least 6 senior advocates in that committee. We have retired justices, we have academics, we are members of the academia, and members of the legal profession in this committee. So I believe that we are all striving to achieve the same goal the Nigerian Law Reform Commission is striving to achieve, and I don't think there's any conflict. And all of this, they have to provide a template. Members of that committee cannot amend any law, with due respect. Members of the committee are not tasked with amending any law. Members of that committee are not tasked with deleting any obsolete law. They are supposed to provide an action plan, a report to the executive that appointed them. Okay, this is what we have observed, that these laws are obsolete. They need to be either repealed or reenacted or amended. These laws are redundant to the extent that the provisions in respect of which they were made are no longer operative in Nigeria. And as such, they are redundant. And then we also have to distinguish the fact that Nigeria practices a federal system of governments. The only extent of the work of this committee is in relation to federal laws. And as such, the laws in Zamfara State or the laws in Plateau State or the laws in the Benue State are not affected by this exercise.
Can I just put you on hold?
Yes.
Let me take E. I just hope that I wish we could have the terms of reference, displayed. E and F. E and F under the terms of reference says, merge laws addressing related matters to eliminate redundancy.
Yes.
Thereafter, prepare a comprehensive report of findings to the Office of the Minister of Justice. Perform and undertake any lawful assignment incidental thereto. So it's not just identifying and come and say, okay, law A is outdated. We need to do this. Law A. They need to take that out.
No. What they can do is to make that proposal. What that term of reference is saying, they are supposed to submit a report that will be in the form of proposal, that this is what we have identified and this is what we are advising. So this committee on its own cannot amend.
Okay.
The Attorney General himself, with all of the power he has as Attorney General, cannot amend or repeal any law.
Let me also put it to you before we go to Lanya.
Yes.
In the event that whatever they come up with,
yes,
they submit to the executive.
It is going to be a report.
A report.
Yes.
The report is presented it's presented to
the Attorney General of the Federation.
Who in turn will present.
Who will in turn decide whether he's going to accept the terms of the report or what they have proposed. He's not going to take everything they have brought hook, line, and sinker and say, okay, National Assembly, this is what we want.
No, but okay, the executive will have to accept that report.
Yes.
Once the executive accepts the report,
yes.
Of course, the National Assembly will have to.
No, they will not present all, some, or part of that report as an executive bill to the National Assembly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that the National Assembly will still have to sit over whatever was.
The function of passing or amending law is exclusively the function of the National Assembly.
Good. Now, assuming in a situation where the broader or intention of what has been submitted conflicts, you understand, with the opinion of or legislative process and all that. As in the case of, because I know, I want to believe that would also come up. The issue of why don't we just have one legislature? Just either,
The function of those committee does not extend to that.
No, what I'm saying is that it's part of the law.
No, it doesn't.
It's saying.
Sorry, doctor. Before you
that's something.
Okay.
You just made some certain points now.
Yes.
It is important for us to know that Nigeria is a federal state.
Yes.
Okay. And part of the review is to point out inconsistencies. Okay.
In the federal laws.
Yes, in the federal laws.
Yes.
Okay. If we're talking of inconsistencies, for instance, we're talking about, for instance, let's look at this case, this forum shopping.
Yes.
Okay, an instance where, someone we seek judgment from different courts. Okay, whether the state high courts, the federal high courts. You see, when we say federal, there are some certain laws that are both federal and as the same state, concurrent laws. So if you look at it holistically, it's not just about federal laws. It's about laws across the whole country. So it's not as that simple as that. And the fact that you talked about the National Assembly, that is it. That was out of my first comment. That you see, all of these issues comes back to the National Assembly.
Yes.
Prof talked about some certain customary laws that have been obsolete. The terms of reference is repeal. So what does it mean by repeal?
I want to believe the language is to propose the repeal. I want to believe because
it's not.
That's what I'm saying.
It says repeal.
No, they can't
repeal obsolete laws.
No, they can't. That's what I'm saying. That from a constitutional standpoint and from a legal point of view, no person or authority in Nigeria has the authority to amend, repeal, or expunge any law in Nigeria except the National Assembly.
Yes. Can Sam Elanya weigh in on this? Sam, are you there?
Yes. Okay. Let me just respond to a few things he said. The first thing is that federal laws does not concern somebody in some federal states. If that were the case, why have a National Assembly? Many laws being made in Abuja, apply across the 36 states. And sometimes they apply in some certain places more than the others. Sometimes they are more useful in a certain place more than the others. Laws that relate to timber and wood doesn't concern you in Abuja or in Lagos because maybe you've not seen a tree in a long while. But somebody somewhere in the bush somewhere in Calabar, maybe Cross River State or Bayelsa, it concerns him. It may look redundant to you, but it doesn't look to them. Laws regarding gender and marriages that perhaps for those of us who are sophisticated, who now want to go work, who wants to begin to do what in Europe and all over the places, it might seem like that's the best thing for you, but for a conservative Nigerian somewhere up north, or perhaps somewhere in the eastern heartland, such laws you call redundant, perhaps might be how they think they can best effectuate the harmony and stability of their families, which is why you must have first, second, third readings, going to committees, come out there, debate it openly. And so if you can do that, then the law can be changed or repealed. That was the first thing indicated. So that wasn't the point that I went remiss to address. Second thing I said that perhaps you didn't get is that this function belongs to the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. I can read you the act. Recently passed 2022. Everything in that so-called mandate of this committee is given to them. Every single one of them. Not just that. You said erroneously, I'm not sure you have researched that the current chairman of that committee is the chairman of the Law Reform Commission. It's not true. The current chairman of that committee is Wale Fakonhunda, SAN, former AG of Ekiti State. He's not the chairman or head of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. So that is already there. Third thing you said that you might want to look at again is this. You indicated that after after all this work, what will happen is that they will take it to the National Assembly with an executive view. That's not how it happens. You can go back to history. 48, 58, 1990, LFN, 2004. What happens is that you go through this work. When you are through, you go to the National Assembly. Just one law, an omnibus law is passed that simply says all the laws here are attached to this list as a schedule, and hereby from today, the laws of the Federation of Nigeria. There's an executive view for each and every one of them. And that's why our laws over time have insisted that you do not allow this function to be led on a partisan or as an executive function. It has to, usually it is led by very senior judges who are put into a place in their life where partisan consideration and don't know what they think about. And that's why you have the Law Reform Commission. Because over there, people there looking at all of these laws, beyond just trying to effectuate the policy imperatives or preferences of the PDP or APC, you want to give effect to whatever are the policy pressures you want to deliver so that you can win the next election. That's not what this kind of function is about. That is why you have to go to the National Assembly. And so I want to restate again that why this is such an important thing is that the last one that we did was done in faraway South Africa. Leipzig, Nexus, South Africa, more or less, was a principal driver of the former one. That's why we missed out so much, because they were in a hurry, take our law to a far-off land. We don't even know what they have done with those.
Sorry, Sam. Yes, I'd just like to again amplify what Leonard Sik here said. The Professor Jume Audi is the co-chairman. Is the co-chairman of the review team,
as well as the chairman of the Nigerian
yes, and the chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission.
I get that, man. I need to remember what I said before. Not even the chairman can, of himself or herself.
Anyway, okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Because of time, we don't have time. Let's go to Joyce to get his parting words. Dr. Shijuade Kayode, maybe you have one or two contributions to make to the conversation that is ongoing. Briefly.
Sir, I would like to say this. Section 5 and Section 7 of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission gives the Commission the power, and the Attorney General also the power, to set up this kind of committee to work with the Commission and other stakeholders for the amendments or reform of laws. So the committee is legal by virtue of those provisions. Now, for my final words, I would say laws are for protection of life and property, and for the general well-being of the society and progress of society. Now, in this law reform, I would like the committee to look at the areas of laws that are creating conflicts in the country, that are being disputed in the country. For example, economic laws, land use, terrorism, crime, cyber attacks, and the digital technology, the digital laws.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kayode, for that. We're sorry we cannot take much from that. We need to sign you off now. Dr. Kayode, Shijuade Kayode is a legal practitioner that joined us from our Jos studio. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Also, we want to thank Sam Elia, founder, editor, lawnigeria.com. Thank you also for your contribution today's conversation. Also, we want to thank Dr. Samuel Oni, Associate Professor and Head of Department Public Policy and Administration, Miva Open University. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Aliyu Lemo, SAN Legal Practitioner. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, and that's Good Morning Nigeria for this Thursday, and I think we really need to look at this issue again in depth now. There's so many laws, that do not align with, of course, modern reality. Anyway, I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul-Razak. Bye-bye.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos, and disaffection between persons, groups, or countries. Fake news facilitates extremism. Fake news creates panic and distrust. Fake news breeds hatred. Fake news kills. Don't joke with it. Don't be in a rush. Verify your sources and facts. It is better late than fake. This message is brought to you by NTA News 24.
Life on Earth is basically nothing without forests, and they sustain lives in several ways. Forest ecosystem also plays a crucial role in man's survival, especially with the growing threats of climate change. Services forests provide include purification of the water, cleansing of the air, mopping up of carbon in the atmosphere to check global warming, and provision of food, among other benefits. The reason why the United Nations decided to set a day aside to mark the World Forest Day is to create awareness on the importance of the thick set of the green lush of the forest, the boughs of the trees and flowers that are homes to different kinds of species crawling or scampering about. And apart from that, right now is one of the most crucial protection for climate change. Now imagine if that is not there again, if the forest is depleted, the survival of human race is in question. Threats of expanding agriculture to feed a growing population and unsustainable logging has become a danger to forest conservation and sustenance in Nigeria. How can we maintain a balance between demands from the forest and its preservation?
We also must find a balance. We must learn to live in harmony with this wonderful miracle of nature. Obviously, population explosion has put a lot more demand on the various resources that we require to get out of nature, like the resources that come from logging, all the things that we get from the wood, the furniture, the charcoal, and many, many other things like that. Yes, the demand is higher. But there is still a way to do that in a harmonious manner. Yes, there are certain fast-growing species of trees which can be used specifically for furniture. These should be encouraged, and they should only be harvested when they are mature, and at the same time other ones are coming on. So we can get wood furniture if we really, really require it from a sustained forest situation. There are also other parts of the forest which have to be preserved. They have to be preserved. The forest is one of the most essential requisites of the life support system of nature because she's supplying the oxygen without which we're gone after 10 minutes of no oxygen that comes from the trees. She's supplying food. She's supplying medicine. She's also sequestering the carbon dioxide. Yes. This massive poisoning of the atmosphere with carbon dioxide, which is causing the global warming, which is now causing climate change, which, if not stopped within the next 10 years, will create an unstoppable and catastrophic breakdown of the environment, according to the latest reports from the International Panel for Climate Change under the auspices of the United Nations. So the forest is playing this marvelous role of just sequestering millions and millions of tons of the CO2. She is an essential ingredient for the life support system.
Environmentalists believe that sustaining and growing forest cover requires proactive efforts and constant mobilization of human and material resources towards tactical and aggressive afforestation.
Whenever you come across a forest, Please kindly see the forest as a source of your livelihood. See the forest like if it stops to exist, if we stop having forest again, you also stop existing.
The importance of forests to man's livelihood and protection of the earth.
Clean water is one of our most important resources. Our very survival depends on it. But where does it come from? If you look upstream, you will probably find a forest. Forests are vital to our water supply. They not only influence how and where rain falls, they filter and clean our water far better and more cheaply than man-made solutions can. So protecting our forests protects our clean water. Remember, when you turn on a tap, you're tapping into forests. Look after forests, because every drop counts.
ECOWAS Council of Ministers strategizes on region's political and security situation. Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority debunks restricting gas supply to power generating companies. (2030) global target to end tuberculosis. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu seeks more cooperation. And welcome. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja. I am Chinenye Nwoye. ECOWAS countries are engaging in a constructive dialogue to strategize on the region's concerns. Correspondent Garba Natala reports that the meeting is at the ministerial level, particularly focusing on the political and security situation in some member countries, as well as humanitarian corridors. Ministers representing member countries are expected to submit their reports for ratification by the authority of heads of state and government. This will form part of the resolution at the end of ECOWAS regional meeting convened in Abuja.
To evolve mechanisms and strategies to sensitize both the government officials and private sector groups on the economic potential of our region.
Repealing obsolete and conflicting laws and enacting new ones that will replace them will place Nigeria in a position that will benefit citizens and create an enabling environment for foreign economic relationships with investors, among others, in line with best practices. These were the views of guests on Good Morning Nigeria while discussing proposed review of Nigerian laws. Ibrahim Bello Gunda reports.
Speaking on the proposed review of Nigerian laws, guests on Good Morning Nigeria say the laws should be dynamic and revolutionary, in line with changes in the society to update its status that is obsolete and harmonize with modern development. They identified obsolete and conflicting laws as a barrier affecting Nigerians, government, businesses and organizations being not in conformity with present realities and contribute to lengthy trials among other challenges hampering quick dispensation of justice in Nigeria.
Unnecessary laws will be deleted, so to speak, from our status book, and then ICT technology will take place.
The committee should be able to receive memorandums from the public and even write to certain agencies or certain bodies to contribute to the review of these laws.
The guest proposed constant periodic review of Nigerian laws while calling on the committee to work with the National Assembly, citizens, civil society organizations, among others, to have a law that will speak to the concern and needs of Nigerians.
They are supposed to submit a report that will be in the form of proposal, that this is what we have identified and this is what we are advising. So this committee on its own cannot amend.
Okay.
The Attorney General himself, with all of the power he has as Attorney General, cannot amend or repeal any law.
Some of our laws are colonial relics, okay? And so you begin to find difficulties in trying to, this law, operating in this digital age with a legal framework that, had been dated even before the digital age.
They noted that the proposed review only affects laws of the federal government, which will be handed over to the National Assembly for ratification. In Abuja, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, NTA News.
With about 6 years left to achieve the 2030 global target to end tuberculosis, critical stakeholders led by political leaders must recommit to collective action aimed at stopping the disease in its track. This is the appeal of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu to international delegates and partners from 62 countries who attended the 38th board meeting of Stop TB Partnership Global held at the Conference Center of the Presidential Villa. The thematic focus of the high-level meeting is canvassing needed political leadership to end tuberculosis. While embracing her role to drive political leadership for the campaign, the First Lady insists that the campaign must prioritize awareness and integrated service delivery that guarantees that no Nigerian is left behind.
Let us acknowledge that the data on tuberculosis are not just numbers. They represent real people, their struggles, and the profound impact of this disease. While the statistics are disturbing, it should be also propel our hope, commitment, and determination to eradicate this global health crisis. As we gather for this important meeting, let us remember that we have the knowledge, the tools, and most importantly, the will to make TB a disease of the past. Therefore, our goals are attainable. Let us move forward with urgency and determination.
But to fight it requires a multifaceted approach, which means we have to work together to prioritize and extend our advocacy to all levels of society, all levels of government, so that our combined effort will result in the improvements that we seek and we know is possible.
We are very happy as partners in the Stop TB. We will always be here for Nigeria. But it's extremely important that is the country standing up for their people and saying, I want to cure them and I want to treat them and I have the ambition, I have the tools, and I have the people. Maybe I don't have all the money, but that will not stop me.
Kogi State government has taken a bold step to revolutionize infrastructure development in the local government areas as it flags off the grading of Ajedimeku, Ojoba, Okate, Ojonoja, Ajekalaga to Abochu in the local government areas. Chairman of the Kina local government area of Kogi State, John Ura Ikani, has also directed the use of laterites on the road to make it accessible. While speaking at the flag-off, the chairman declared a state of emergency on bad roads in the area, and he promises that his administration will invest millions of naira in repairing the earth-moving equipment of the local government area. John Ura Ekani called on Department of Works of the local government to show capacity with the project and prove to the world that it is ready for the new dawn that will be full of activities and work for the betterment of the local government area.
Similarly, he expressed appreciation to the Governor, Ahmed Usman Ododo, for his support in ensuring Dekina is placed on the map of development, saying the Governor is a good example to all the local government chairmen. The federal government will continue to rid farmers of producers, dealers, and marketers of adulterated fertilizer across Nigeria, in line with its commitments.
That necessary prosecution in line with the provisions of the National Fertilizer Quality Control Act of 2020.